Shalom, Akim, giving all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Rakah, Quadash, double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders of great millstones. Salute to the sincere Akim out there of the hopeful elect. All right? Yeah, man, you tribes, you can't avoid each other even if you wanted to, man. All right? As much as you hate each other, okay? But you can't avoid each other as no matter how much you try. All right? Because you're brothers, y'all are kindred. You guys are kinfolks, okay? You so-called Negroes, you Latinos, you North American Indians, all right? Y'all all related. You're kinfolks, okay? You come from the same father, all right, which is Jacob, in which Jacob's name was changed to Israel, okay? So you're the same people, man. No matter how much hatred you have towards each other, you know, we come from 12 separate families, but we are the descendants of the same man, Jacob, all right, who Jacob's father was Isaac, and Isaac's father was Abraham. So that's the paternal line, okay? Those are the patriots of our nation, the nation of Israel, all right? So, you know, as much as you hate each other, try to avoid each other, and as much as you fight each other, okay, the Lord is going to keep y'all together, man. You know, he's gonna make it where it's impossible to avoid each other, okay? And the reason being is because we come from the same lineage, all right? So I'm gonna bring out the first scripture. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 33. It says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together." Okay? The children of Israel represents the northern kingdom of the nation of Israel when you do the history. All right? And the northern kingdom was spearheaded by the tribe of Ephraim, which are the Puerto Ricans today. Okay? The Puerto Ricans are of the tribe of Ephraim, and they were the leaders of the children of Israel, or the kingdom of Israel, rather. All right? And then it says, and the children of Judah were oppressed together. Now, the children of Judah, or the kingdom of Judah, represents the southern kingdom, which represents the so-called Negro tribes, all right? Because you blacks, you West Indians, and you Haitians, okay? I don't care how similar y'all look to one another, y'all are not the same people. Y'all come from different families, but of course, we're of the same lineage, all right? We all descended from the same man, just as well as the Latin tribes descended from the same man, okay? But there's a slight difference between you so-called foundational black Americans, all right? You West Indians, you know, you Jamaicans and Trinidadians and Barbadians, or whatever you call yourselves, all right? You Islanders, all right? And you Haitians, okay? Which is the tribe of Levi, all right? Even though, you know, you might have the tightly curled hair and the dark skin, okay? And, you know, y'all look very much alike, okay? But you know, there's a difference among us according to our tribal lineage, who our father was, because there's 12 tribes in Israel, all right? So Judah, Benjamin, and Levi make up the southern kingdom, you know? And you know, and our culture is slightly different, just like the northern tribes. You know, the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans, they look very much alike, but they're not the same. You know, there's slight cultural differences between them, right? As well as the Mexicans and in the tribe of Zebulon, all right, which is them, you know, them El Salvadorians, the people from Guatemala, all right, Nicaragua and Panama, those countries down there, Central America, and the Mexican Indians, okay, they look very similar to each other, but they have a different culture, all right? That's because, you know, they come from a different family within Israel, okay? So the Lord said, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the Lord of armies, the children of Israel," all right, which is the northern tribes, or the Latin tribes, as we call them, and the children of Judah, right, which is the southern kingdom, which is the Negro tribes, it says we're oppressed together, okay? Yeah, we are oppressed together, all right? So that's why you can go to any hood, any ghetto in America. Wherever the Negro is at, the so-called Negro, you foundational black Americans, or whatever you calling yourselves nowadays, okay? Your closest neighbors are going to be Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Mexicans, all right, West Indians, Haitians, okay? Those are going to be your neighbors, man. And now you got the Latin tribes from South America crossing through the southern border of the United States, and they ending up in the same fucking ghettos among among you black Americans. Okay? So now you got Venezuelans among us. Now you got Colombians living among us, man. You know? So the Lord said we are pressed together. You know? And through our cultural differences, we hate each other, man. You know? And all of the tribes were taught to hate the black American, the so-called Negroes. Okay? You know? And that's including the other Negro tribes, the West Indians and the Haitians. They can't stand the black man in America. All right? Because, you know, through the media programming of the elites, the way they stereotype black Americans makes the whole world hate us, man. All right? Not only the other tribes, but the whole damn world. The other nations, well, the other nations hate us because they're not us. All right? But then when it comes to the other tribes, they hate us. They hate us because they're being taught, brainwashed, and programmed to hate us through the stereotypical witchcraft media of the elites, okay? Who portrayed the so-called black Americans as lazy, all right, gluttonous, murderers, robbers, ignorant, drug dealers, and rapists. You know, anything wicked or evil, okay? That's the reason why they call our people black. Okay, because black does mean, well, black is void of light and void of understanding, but it does mean evil, okay? And it does represent wickedness, all right? No, they show you that in the movie Malcolm X, okay? All right? But nonetheless, our people are being oppressed together, you know? All right? Some of you Latin tribes, you have light skin, okay? You know, you have curly hair or whatever. Some of you have straight hair, okay? But yet the so-called white man doesn't see you as being white, all right? When the so-called white man sees you Puerto Ricans and you Mexicans, he look at you like you're nothing but a Spanish nigger, okay? You're nothing but a nigger who knows how to speak Spanish. And that's why they're oppressing you, okay? That's why Donald Trump has sent Homeland Security and ICE on you Latinos. And they're rounding you up, man. They're rounding you up. You know, by the thousands, man, okay? And they don't care whether you have U.S. citizenship just because you fit the profile of a Hispanic, okay? That's grounds for them to lock you up, all right? And if you in the melee of your being incarcerated in one of these concentration camps or these detention centers, okay, you have to prove that you have paperwork documenting you as an American citizen. Till then, you're gonna spend a couple of fucking days, months, or however long in jail until they fucking ship you out the country. Okay? That's because they hate you. All right? You're being oppressed right along with the black Americans in America. It says, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. That's right. Okay? So they holding you fast. They holding you in captivity, man. You know, you got to work for these damn devils, man. You know, you got to work for them. Okay? You think all these Mexicans coming up here to America seeking opportunity to come work for the gringo. Okay? You know, that's why they are all out there on these fucking lined up in front of Home Depot, hoping that some fucking white boy in a pickup truck will choose them to come and reap their fields. Okay? For some real cheap labor. All right? They refuse to let you go, all right? And really, letting you go meaning what? Teach you the truth about who you really are, okay? All right? They don't want to teach our people that they're the Israelites, man, because the elites of this society, all right, they know that you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and North American Indians are the Israelites, all right? You Native Americans, right? That's another thing, man. You North American Indians, man, okay? They try to act like you basically extinct, you know? Y'all on the res, y'all think y'all got this, you know, this sovereign. You think you think you're a sovereign. You think your little reservation is a sovereign state, okay? And they oppressing you on your own res. You got to sell out